Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. We've got a nice Gobbo Great Shaman here, leading a force of all Gobbos Vanguard deployed, I should say, right in the face of this Dwarf player. So we're going to get right to the fun here. So let's go ahead and go through this builds in slow motion as the battle gets underway. So of course I've got the Goblin Great Shaman. He's carrying the Vortex spell here. This Curse to Bad Moon, of course, does quite a bit of damage now, as most Vortex spells do, and also applies a really nice debuff there. We've also got Night Trout in case of I need to hide this guy from cannons. Itchy Nuisance, fairly straightforward. It's a melee attack weapon damage debuff, and Sneaky Stabbin', a melee attack and armor piercing buff. We've also got the Hammer of Gork. Front line is going to be Night Gobbos, obviously. We've got 5 Night Gobbos, 2 Regiments of Renown, both 8-peak Loonies and the Warlord's Boys, and then 3 Night Goblins with Fanatics. And the Fanatics are key here, as we're going to see in just a second. 2 Nasty Skulkers out to each flank, as well as 2 Squig Hoppers out to each flank. One of them, of course, is the Durkat Squigs. We've got Teef Rabbas. We've also got the 2 Regiment of Renown Skirmish Cav, Morgub's Magi Marauders, and Death Creepers, as well as the Moon Howlers. So, for my opponent, you can see the Fanatics already being unleashed here. He's got 2 Miners, 2 Longbeards with great weapons, Norgrumlings Ironbreakers, a unit of Hammerers, some Miners, 2 Bugman's Rangers, and the Dragonback Slayers. So these Rangers with great weapons look like Ulthar's Raiders, and some Hammerers, 2 Gyrocopters, a Rune Lord, and a Rune Smith. So let's go ahead and get straight to the fun. So you can see immediately I'm going to be unleashing the Fanatics, and just look at the amount of damage, even to a really high value target like the Norgrumlings Ironbreakers. We're just going to get a ton of early damage in with those Fanatics there. You can see about 10% HP damage. Really nice work right off the bat, and the Fanatics are going to be key to this type of build. We're going to immediately take the flank with the superior Gobbo forces, get in here on these Longbeard Square Weapons, unleashing more Fanatics into the flank here as these Squig Hoppers get into these Ulthar's Raiders, doing a ton of shock damage. We're also going to be using a nice Itchy Nuisance debuffing this entire pocket here. So all of these dwarfs are currently debuffed with their melee attack. Also, Curse the Bad Moon going down. You can see it's going to do a little bit of damage, and then as it turns and falls over these hammers, it'll do a little bit more. It also applies that really nice debuff, so they have, minus 30 armor and so on. It's quite useful. You can see just absolute madness in the back line. We brought up our Skirmish Cav, and my opponent's Gyrocopters are busy shooting at my Teef Rabbas, so I've forgotten over on the side, as well as those, let's see, the 2 Squig Hoppers over there. We're going to be bringing them over shortly, but the Moon Howlers and these Nasty Skulkers getting in on the Bugman's Rangers. Fortunately, we are losing in the mainline fight, which is to be expected. I mean, we're just little Gobbos after all. But in certain situations, we've been able to do a lot of damage and trade very cost-effectively, considering we're trading against much more expensive units. The blind from the Hammer of Gork will be a big part of that. More Fanatics being unleashed into the Dwarfs here, just going straight through these Norgrumlings Ironbreakers, then going to crash into the back of these Hammerers. So really nice value there. Just continually raining fire, and you can see a lot of these Dawa units are starting to take some pretty severe damage, and considering this is the Norgrumlings Ironbreakers, which is a unit that is incredibly hard to take off the battlefield, feeling pretty good about my odds so far. A lot of the Gobbos are broken, but as we know, Gobbos like to rally, so we're going to get a nice side Squig Hopper charge here, just getting a ton of shock damage. That armor-piercing anti-infantry is going to be very nice here. Unfortunately, I did bring in the Teef Robbers and then promptly forgot to micro them, so they got routed off. They were able to do a little bit of damage, but yeah, you can see these Night Goblin Squig Hoppers taking a lot of damage, but they're also fixing these guys in place, allowing me to get charges from multiple directions. And now that we've broken through this pocket here, we can now collapse with the Gobbos, and once again, just unleash the terror of the Vortex spells here that curse the Bad Moon here. We can look, and it's a really nasty debuff. Minus 30 armor, minus 22 melee attack. So against the Dwarfs, very, very pertinent. More Fanatics being unleashed in here, and you can see once the Dwarfs are at low HP, they will actually blow up unit models with those Fanatics. Just absolute brutality. So far, so good. We're still fixing this Longbeard in place with the 8-peak Loonies. Of course, they're unbreakable. And the one thing about Goblins is that once they rout off, they're going to keep coming back. So, like, these guys will keep coming back. We're going to get these guys back. These guys have all come back from routing now to get in a rear charge. And once the Dwarfs numbers start to dwindle, your guys rout off and come back. As long as you're on top of your micro, bringing your Gobbos back in, you're going to be able to keep just continuously getting this surround, and as the dwarf numbers dwindle more and more, you're going to get a more and more favorable engagement. You can see the Norgrumlings, Ironbreakers, each unit model is surrounded by 3 or 4 goblins just getting shanked in the shins and stabbed in the back. It's all kinds of madness back here. I mean, they are holding out very admirably considering how many goblins they're up against, but that perpetual blind as well from the Hammer of Gork is just absolutely massive. If we can see here, I'm not sure, it does look like it's applied here, so that blinded is minus 26 melee attack, minus 27 melee defense, so that continuous pressure, really effective here. You can see we've brought in the Mangy Marauders and the Death Creepers into melee, going to be using them to do various things. The Night Goblin Shaman, honestly, at this point, nothing that my opponent has can catch, and another Fanatics just straight down the line here, catching Slayers and, you know, Night Goblins alike. No, goblins aren't too worried about friendly fire on the whole, but yeah, you can see we're just firing away into these gyrocopters here. The Morgul's Mangy Marauders do some decent armor-piercing damage, of course, so they'll be able to work down these Brimstone guns. Granted, they have used all of their ammo, as have these guys. We're just using the Moon Howlers to kind of chase routing Hammerers off the field, just make sure they don't come back from routing. And yeah, mostly it's just the Dwarf leadership at this point. Dragonback Slayers and or Norgrumling's Ironbreakers also holding out very admirably here, but another volley of Fanatics just going to be cleaving through the Dwarf lines here. Absolute brutality. I'm a huge fan of the Night Goblin Fanatics right now. I think they're very useful. If you're on top of using them, you can get a lot of value out of Gobbos. Now we've pretty much dealt with these guys for the most part. We're going to be able to isolate the Dawi leadership. Another Curse of the Bad Moon going to be unleashed right on top of these Norgrumlings, Ironbreakers, and the Slayers. You can see it does finish off a few unit models there, as well as applying that debuff. And man, between the blind and the Curse of the Bad Moon, let's check out the melee stats. Yeah, 5 melee defense and 0 melee attack on the Dragonback Slayers. Between the poison, the blind, the Curse of the Bad Moon, all this stuff, just debuffing them into the pits. And this is the one thing about Gobbos is, you know, especially against a faction like the Dwarfs that are very static, you can apply these multiple stacking debuffs, and suddenly your, you know, diminutive, seemingly very weak Goblins will trade massively effectively, especially Nasty Skulkers who have this opportunist murderer trait that gives them plus 13 melee attack and plus 40% armor piercing, which is huge if they're winning in combat. So as you debuff your opponent and your goblins start to win and win, you know, they'll just win all day no matter what, you know, money on their minds, or teeth rather. But yeah, we're going to be wrapping things up here relatively shortly. Just trying to finish off the last of these stalwart dwarfs. These Ironbreakers holding the line here. Fortunately, are completely surrounded at this point. The gyrocopters have had to come down onto the ground, facing my mobile force of Spider Riders and, well, Wolf Riders. And, you know, a few Squig Hoppers as well in here for some support. They got the armor piercing. But, yeah, the regeneration from these Death Creepers and the stock makes them probably one of the most useful regiments of renown. I have to say, the Greenskins in general have probably the best regiments of renown in the game, in my opinion. I mean, just all of their regiments of renown are useful, and I brought pretty much all of them except maybe the Crimson Killers in this particular battle. And with an all Gobbo force, considering that they're mostly goblins, the regiments of renown, you can really make the all Gobbo force shine with those regiments. And yeah, it's very fun. You can see the Night Gobbo Shaman just getting in here, trying to smack down the Rune Lord and the Runesmith a little bit. But at this point, it's just going to be a matter of wrapping up the Dawi leadership. So we'll go ahead and fast forward through the end there as we finish off these Slayers as well. So, very well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. A very, very fun battle. So go ahead and take a look at the post breakdown here. You can see for these Gobbos, 89 kills and 115 on Night Gobbos. That's primarily from the Fanatics. This one, they had triple bronze to start out with, so this one actually managed to pick up a chevron through the course of the battle. Nasty Skulkers getting some okay kills in, but again, they're just meant to kind of wear down by sheer numbers. Warlord's Boys and Ache Peak Loonies. Again, the Warlord's Boys sunder armor, so that's very useful in this particular matchup. Night Goblin Squig Hoppers did a little bit here. 54 and 54 is pretty decent. 50 kills on the Hammer of Gork, as well as continuously applying that blind, which is super useful. 37 kills from Curse the Bad Moon from the Gobble Great Shaman here. 41 on the Death Creepers, very nice. You would expect a lot of kill totals on the Dwarfs, and they do have a lot. 103 on the Rune Lord, 120 here, 86 on these Longbeards, 181 on the Dragonback Slayers, and 129 on the Norgling's Ironbreakers. But at the end of the day, I was able to inundate his range units fast enough, and although the Gyrocopters, it's weird. Gyrocopters in a little bit of a weird place. Because I didn't have that many high-value large targets, I had a lot of large targets. They're all relatively cheap, though, so, I mean, I don't think they would have been able to get their value from the ammunition they had. Miners as well just kind of got run over a little bit, but, yeah, very fun battle. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm keeping it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content every single day, sometimes twice a day even. Recently, I've been having a little bit of extra time, and I'm just having so much fun playing in this patch that, you know, we're going to be bringing a lot of extra content. Stay tuned. I'll be participating in a 2v2 tournament with Turin very soon. Myself and Lore Master of Sotek going to be joining forces to take on a number of other teams. It's going to be very, very fun. So, well, let's see. What else do we have to look forward to? Yeah, that's pretty much it in the near future. Obviously, going to be continuing with the Warhammer Fantasy League replays and my own replays. Lots of 2v2s, group battles, campaign. I think me and Lore Master of Sotek are going to do another head-to-head campaign, this time as Chaos versus Beastmen. So that should be a lot of fun. Stay tuned for all of that and more, and we will see you next time.